Hey everyone, Alex here for Android Headlines, and this is the Bluboo X9. Now let's dive into the full review. The Bluboo X9 is the latest smartphone from the Chinese manufacturer based out of Shenzhen. We're looking at a 5-inch 1080p display powered by the MediaTek MT6753 octa-core processor, along with 3 gigs of RAM. The X9 is a great looking smartphone from Bluboo, but does the rest of the phone stand up to its looks? The first thing you'll notice about the Bluboo X9 is the gold frame and trim on the device. The frame is metal, similar to the Galaxy S7 and Galaxy S7 Edge, although the frame appears to be a bit thicker. This means that it's less likely to get bent while in your pocket. The trim around the camera and fingerprint module on the back is also in metal, and it looks quite stunning, to be honest. The back panel is removable, which beneath that you'll find the micro and full-size SIM card slots, along with the micro SD card slot and removable battery. The back is made of soft touch plastic. Think of the Nexus 5 from LG and Google, and we really like how that feels in the hand. On the top of the Bluboo X9 we have a micro USB port, which doesn't appear to be all that great. We found during our time with the device that you sometimes need to wiggle the cable into the port to get it to actually charge the device, but it does work as it should. Now up top we also have a 3.5mm headphone jack, and on the right side we have our volume rocker with our power button below that. Over on the bottom we have the microphone hole as well as a speaker. Now the speaker is not perfect. This is a bottom firing speaker, so there's not a whole lot to get excited about, but it's pretty good. The fingerprint sensor on the back of the device below the camera appears to be in a pretty perfect position. Now it's a bit higher than where my index finger normally rests on the back of the device, but that's not really a bad thing, because I can move my finger just a bit to unlock the phone without needing to shimmy my hand up the device. Now part of that is due to the fact that this is just a 5-inch display, so it's not a huge phone. Now the fingerprint reader could use a little bit of work. There have been quite a few times where it didn't recognize my finger, although I would say it was pretty accurate about 95% of the time. Additionally, since this is running Android 5.1 Lollipop, that means no fingerprint API support on this phone, as that was part of the Marshmallow update. Which means that your fingerprint scanner is only good for unlocking your phone. Now that's not really a bad thing, but it's not going to give a lot of people any reason to actually use the fingerprint scanner. Now battery life on the Bluboo X9 was about what you'd expect from a 2500 mAh battery. It is enough to get you through a normal day, but not much more than that. Of course, if this phone does get updated to Marshmallow, those may help with that battery a bit more. Bluboo's 1080p panel here, it's pretty decent. It's not going to win any awards for being the best display available, that still belongs to Samsung, but it does the job. You can see the IPS display just fine outside, although it's a bit tough to show, and it can get quite dim at night. The panel isn't saturated like most AMOLED panels these days, which may be a good thing for some people. This means that the colors are a bit more natural. The most surprising part about the Bluboo X9 was arguably the fact that it's running a stock version of Android. Given that most smartphones coming out of China are running their own skin on top of Android. But here we have Android 5.1 Lollipop. Now there's no word on when or if we'll see Android 6.0 Marshmallow. There are a few changes to note in this version of Android on the Bluboo X9 though. One of the changes is the app drawer. It's essentially the AOSP launcher, so not quite Google Now launcher, but the app drawer does stick about 10 apps to the front page that no matter what you do with, they just stay there. Now these apps include the phone, contacts, messaging, browser, camera, gallery, music, file manager, settings, and calendar. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but we would like the option to just sort the entire app drawer alphabetically. There's also no way to get to Google Now without actually opening the Google app, and that would be by going into the app drawer, tapping on the app, and opening it. Since we have a menu button and back button on either side of the home button, which long pressing does nothing for either one of them, but long pressing the home button just jumps into recent apps, and we couldn't find a way to remap any of this. Software on the Bluboo X9 ran pretty great. For the most part, we didn't have any issues with the software on the X9. It ran pretty smooth and didn't lag at all, even with a octa-core 1.3 GHz processor powering it. Although we would have preferred seeing Marshmallow on here, there's not much to complain about really with having Lollipop on a sub $150 smartphone. Now when it comes to these cheaper smartphones, especially coming out of China, the camera is something that really suffers in terms of performance. And that seems to be about the case here with the Bluboo X9. Now this isn't a terrible camera, we've seen much worse, like Motorola's, but it can definitely get the job done. Here are some of the pictures I took during my time with the Bluboo X9. Now they're not exactly mind-blowing, but they are decent enough for most people, especially for posting on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. There was a ton of noise in some of these pictures, even some that were taken in direct sunlight, which was a bit odd to see. So the Bluboo X9 is only officially sold in China. However, if you are outside of China and want to pick up this phone, you can go ahead and hit up the link in the description below. GearBest Wrigley has it for around $140 US. Not a bad price at all for this smartphone. Additionally, it comes with both silver and gold. And that's it for this one. As always, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. And we'll see you in the next one.